Okay. You're gonna, oh, you're there. Great. So, as I was saying that, if we can use our common sense as human beings, see in the scriptures, it is mentioned that in the entire creation, there are 8,400,000 species of living beings. And 8,400,000 species, imagine, So, I wanted to get it. So, now, out of these 8,400,000 species, there are only 400,000 human species. Now, one may ask question, how possible 400,000 human species? Yes, it's not just because of, in terms of, we determine human beings in terms of race, color, whatever. But actually, there's only one human race. So now, the difference is according to our level of consciousness. So the whole human society is divided or categorized in three levels of consciousness. Budding consciousness, like a flower bud, and then blossom, because the flower, becomes like a bud, right? But doesn't stay like that. And then blossom, and then gradually become fully blossom, and gives nice scent, nice flavor, right? So that means any human being, regardless of his level of consciousness, he can improve himself. They can improve themselves if they become aware of their spiritual nature. That's why you see some human beings, they're atheists, they're interested in spiritual life, their consciousness is very low, They're just interested in eating, sleeping, defending, mating, and bodily needs, But some they're thinkers, like philosophers, They want to think a lot about life, They hang on, life is like this, like that. But in general, they speculate. But the intention is good because they are better than animals because they're thinking something beyond, these basic needs. So, some living entities, they're very, very mature, and that's called a spiritualist. The spiritualist, and then become aware of their spiritual nature. Means their consciousness now almost fully blossom. That's why, in order to reach the level of consciousness, we have to apply a formula which is according to the revealed scriptures, authorized source of spiritual knowledge, what we call in Sanskrit Vedas. That's what, like Buddhism, everything, Vedas is from Sanskrit. It's not Indian thing, Indian is just something from above. Vedic knowledge is the original knowledge for everyone, So, if we're honest, we study the Vedas, we hear, like the way I'm telling you, from the beginning we're telling you about spirituality. So, you'll be able to think, oh yes, there's something higher than that what we have now. At the present moment, our consciousness is very, very low. We're only interested in materialistic activities. And we're struggling hard, for existence. So let me find alternative. And the alternative is to become aware of your spiritual nature, to take care of the self. Because the self is the soul. The self is not the body. When you say my body, you never say I body, my body. So like you take care of your car, your house, your apartment, whatever, but you have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, nobody will you can't even take care of others. That's illusion. So, very important thing. So this mantra, like we're chanting again together, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a transcendental sound vibration of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Because one thing we have to accept that if you call ourselves brothers, universal brotherhood, so there must be a father. We cannot be brothers without having a common father. Mm-hmm. So that father is God. This is mentioned everywhere in the Bibles, everywhere. So, now what is that duty to our Father? This Father we have supreme personality of Godhead. It's only one God. It can never be more than one God. Because the real meaning of God means one without second. It's meaning of God. One without second. So He is the supreme Father. He is a very supremely loving, supremely affectionate, supremely caring. But we have become, rebellious. We don't want to, to associate with them. We think that we're independent. We want to be independent from Him. But He's so kind. In so many ways, He's trying to get our attention, because only when we remember Him, when we accept Him again, and when we surrender to Him, this surrender is not like material way of thinking, oh, why should I surrender to someone? I'm also great, This is the material ego, But to surrender to God means you actually, you want to be connected with Him so that all your desires can be fulfilled. So what's wrong with that? It's still like in the material world. If you're dealing with somebody, your boss, somebody has got so much money, and you're working for him, you have to show some respect to that person, right? You have to be nice to that person. You have to be submissive to that person in order to be promoted. It's a common sense. But in case of God, where we do that, but not out of fear. We do that out of love. Love is all we need. All we need is love. So in the material world, we are forced to act because we need some profit, we need some security, something like this. But in the spiritual world, it's not like that. In the spiritual world, everything just springs from love. See, suppose you love somebody so much. You don't care to serve that person. You don't mind. Right? You love your friend. You have to do everything to please your friend. It's common sense. What's wrong with that? And you get pleasure out of it. So people have a misunderstanding, they have misconception about when the question of you surrender to God because Almighty, people, they're so unnecessarily proud. They're thinking, oh, why should I be, subordinate? But in the spiritual way, it's not like that. In the spiritual hour, actually, one who surrenders and the one who is the master, they're equally same. But the special thing about it, the person who surrendered, he sometimes he develop more power than a master. Yeah. And then he gets much more pleasure than a master. So because you have to understand, spiritual material is just the opposite. In material world, we think completely upside down. It's perverted. Our thinking process is completely perverted. When it's said, in material world, nobody wants to be servant. Everybody wants to be master. But in spiritual world, the other way around. Everybody wants to serve. Because that's where the pleasure, is derived. So therefore, when we chant this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We need just to revive that love. Because that love is always there with you. Something, it just come out. No, this mantra gives you, purifies you, so that your real nature can be revealed to you. It's there already. Let me give the example. When you have a dry wood, the fire in there in the wood. But when you ignite fire, you use matches or lighter, and then you remove that, the fire, the wood goes on burning. That means the fire is already there. So our real nature is love. We're made of love. Our real nature is loving nature. Right? That's why there's no feeling higher than loving feeling. You can be rich, you can be famous, you can have so many things. But when you have that feeling of love, nothing higher than that, nothing superior to that. So all we need is love. So in order to experience this love, we have to be connected with God. Because it is said in all the belief that God is love. God is love. So our relationship with God is eternal, perfect, loving relationship. Eternal, perfect, loving relationship. Can never be broken. What we call love here in the material world is a reflection, perverted reflection of real love. It's like, in fact, the entire material world is considered to be perverted reflection of their reality. So everything we do in the material world, like friendship, this and that, we other living entities, that's okay, right? But mostly we do these things in terms of in terms of the material body. I love my friend. I know my friend is a body. I'm also a body, you know. So we call bodily relationship. That's what will give you pleasure, because sooner or later that relationship will break. You know, you're going to be separated. You're forced to be separated, death or something like this, or you become inimical towards each other. But why? That's the meaning of reflect. That's the meaning of it's a perverted. It's not real. But if you will establish the real relationship, loving relationship with God, then that pleasure not only is it eternal pleasure, but ever increasing, ever increasing, ever increasing. And that's what we want. That's what we want. That's the perfection of everything we're looking for. We need to be in love. We need to be prosperous. We need to be eternal. We need to have higher pleasure, higher pleasure. Say example like somebody taking drugs, right? He take some dose, and then he wants a little bit higher dose, you know, so they can, you know, something. And ultimately, it becomes addiction. It becomes, you know, problematic. But in spiritual life, something when we experience this loving feeling, it's amazing. It's no end. It's over increasing. That's all. So therefore, this chanting Hare Krishna is recommended in this age we're living. That if you want to realize our spiritual nature, where to take to this process. So I gave you this. You can read it, and all explain there about the meaning of chanting. So the chanting is transcendental sound vibration. It's not material. If you just sit down, you chant, you see how your mind, everything, you get peace, you get, you know, free, you get relief from anxiety. It's material world. It's like a blazing fire. Every time, sometimes we experience so much anxiety, lamentation, fear, you know. But the remedy is, if you will, explore our spiritual wisdom. And in due course time we apply into our life, and then we get relief. Material solution will never help you, because the soul is spiritual. How can material solution, you know, satisfy the soul? No. The soul is superior. The material sense gratification, sense enjoyment, they're all temporary things. They can never give real satisfaction to the soul. That's why we get frustrated. So, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Do you have any question, comment?
I don't think so.
Does everything make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I beg you, my brothers and friends, please read that. It doesn't matter. There's no loss. Just trying to get those information. Even just once, just read it and understand. I tell you, you know, your spiritual journey will start from there. You can never go wrong.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoy your food.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna sit down there. I'm gonna be singing like this.
We'll read this.
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
I will. I've got some other small books there. I'll set them up, and then if you need, you can come see the titles. If you need any of those,
Wonderful.
you can,
Thank you.
you're welcome. What's your name again?
Reese.
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 Reese. Okay.
Emmett.
Huh?
Emmett.
Emmett. Okay. My name is Haridas.
Haridas.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Harinam.
So I've been practicing this process for it's gonna be almost 40 years
Wow.
for my life. Yeah, I travel around the world. I spent most of my life in the UK, British, and then I've been in the United States. It's gonna be almost 10 years, and also travel a lot. I live in India, different part of Europe, Eastern Europe, everywhere, like this. Yeah. We are a big society. We are an international society of Krishna consciousness. So we have branches, temples all over the world. So I travel different places.
That's awesome.
Yeah, to take part in our. We do organize big events, like festivals, music festival, everything, singing gospels, and entertaining people spiritually, Okay, Reese and the mix. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, of course.
And really, I wish you all the best. And hopefully, you'll understand much about spiritual life. That's the only thing we need, my friends. Nothing is. Material world, everything just goes around. Until death comes, we're doomed. But now, you're young, please cultivate this understanding, because life is very, very temporary. Anytime death can knock at our door, It's not because we can't take it for granted. I'm young. Yeah, young. Many people die young, Could be an accident, could be anything. You can be in the wrong place. That's it. So better to be really think about your spiritual nature. If you do a little bit, there's no loss. But when you do something spiritual, or you acquire a little bit of spiritual knowledge, it can never be destroyed. But when you may be very expert in material activities, you may acquire many qualifications in material field, but when you die, everything finishes. And then the soul doesn't die. The soul never dies. The soul always exists. What happens? The soul changes, transmigrates from one body to another. Now you change your clothes. So now your next life will be on account of who you are now. Because man, it is one saying, man is the architect of his own destiny. Why you can think in society when some people, they have different standards of life. Some people, they're better, they're rich, they're this, they're beautiful. Why? If God is not partial, He's impartial. Why? Because according to the past deeds, the past life, the way the person was acting previously, when you die, in the next birth, the consequences, the reaction of your previous activities will determine which type of birth you're gonna take, where you're gonna take birth, in which society, this and that. That you took birth in America, it's not by chance. Other people, they take birth very, very, materially impoverished place. They don't have means of life, can't even eat, nothing. All these things. It's not by chance. So we have to cultivate our spiritual wisdom, and that will save us from being degraded the next life. If you don't take care now that we're living, then when the death comes, then our next life will be degraded. We may even take birth like insects, worms, snakes. Yeah. They're all living entities. Or the body of tree standing up there in the winter, in freezing cold. They're living entities because of the bad reactions of the previous karma. So now they've been given this type of life.
Now, in your experience, which country have you had the most success in recruiting people?
Which country?
Any country, or is there a country that has been really receptive? Like, has the U.S. been receptive?
Everywhere we've been.
Everywhere?
Yeah. Of course, we don't claim to be majority, because there's one saying, when you go to a gold store where they sell gold, you have a very few customers. When you go like in a normal marketplace, not many people. So this is very high understanding. It's not for everybody. So you have to be you have to be highly intelligent, and you have to be honest, and then that will make sense to you, and then you accept it. But then we have different level of appreciation. Some people, they take to it. Some people, they appreciate, Some people, they're not ready, but they like it, like this. And our duty is to encourage people, to give the message, to let people know about it. So that's much we can do. But we have a tremendous, amazing, successful response everywhere in the world. When you look about ISKCON, International Society for Christian Consciousness, all over the world, any country in the world we have our centers, activities. It's called Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Those are really seriously spiritually inclined. They immediately accept, say yes. Because why it is said, in this time we live in, every age has a method, prescribed method for self-realization, for spirituality. But this Krishna consciousness in this age we live in, called Kali Yuga, is, according to the revealed scriptures, is the available formula for everybody. Because otherwise, other formulas are very difficult to practice. Like people go to Himalayas, they meditate, they do this, they perform so many austerities. People in this Kali Yuga, they don't have that strength of the mind to do that. But the Supreme Lord is so kind, He has given this formula suitable for everyone. Just chant this transcendental sound vibration. It's very powerful. So you can do that anywhere. You can sit on your own, anywhere. You can read, philosophy, and then you can also chant this Hare Krishna. But usually good when you associate with other devotees. But if you're sincere, God will arrange everything.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Now you can get your food, okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words of how do you think about this philosophy? After hearing all this,
it's humble. It's humble. It's open-mindedness.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Being less prideful. It's good. It's open heart.
And Ruth?
I definitely agree with them on the mindfulness of just being able to let yourself go and all your bodily needs, all your bodily wants and whatnot, and be able to really it's just how you said, it's like people live in their body, but it's not really who you are. You need not be ignorant, and all these things that people are worried about, it's all just like these sort of material bodily wants and needs. It's not really who we are, so it makes sense.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.